Welcome on FIBREE Talks. On this session of FIBREE Talks, I have a partner, a collaboration partner in the working group, in the tokenization working group of FIBREE, someone who adds so much energy and power, and someone who's professional in commercial real estate. And now we'll talk more about his background. Adrian, how are you?
Very well. Very
Good
well.
to see you today. Prior to us going to the presentation and talking about the subject that we will be discussing together, I would love to hear more about your background, because I believe it's very interesting, and your expertise, because your experience and what you've been doing alongside what you're passionate about today adds so much value, I believe, to both edges of the industry. So I'll pass it on to you. If you can introduce yourself, please, and give us a background on you.
Thank you, Makram. So once again, really, great to be a guest of this great initiative that you have formulated. So I'm really proud of that, to be part of this.
Thank you.
So thank you. Yes, I am based in Warsaw right now, working for Skanska Commercial Development Europe, and I have more than 20 years of experience in real estate, and last 15 in capital markets, working for investment funds or developers, mostly selling office investments or retail investments to different partners. So that's my background, and also my interest in tokenization, where we are part of the same group. From FIBREE, I'm actually a regional co-chair sitting in Warsaw, and I joined as a co-chair 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But I'm quite familiar and joined the group a bit earlier. So happy to be in this renowned group of friends. I have been actually quite interested in blockchain strategy, and initially I was actually wondering how to apply blockchain to transactions, because this is mostly what I do when I'm selling our assets, and that was my kind of task. I was exploring with different international IT companies. In the meantime, I have managed to finish this executive program on MIT about the blockchain technologies and their innovation approach to business. So that was something which gave me some background and some foundation, actually. That was really helpful.
You're the head of divestment in Skanska, yeah?
Yes.
So just to tell people about Skanska, for people who are not from Europe, I believe anyone in Europe would know Skanska. However, it's one of the biggest investors in commercial real estate, yeah? And your main role is to sell the assets, liquefy those assets, yeah?
Yes. No, I think, if talking about Skanska, we're one of the biggest construction companies. So probably, when people are watching me from different countries in the world, Skanska will be somehow connected to construction, because we construct bridges, highways, tunnels, and I'm part of this investment business, which is very much interconnected with our construction company, because we actually work together. So construction is our main contractor, where we build our investment product, which is mostly offices. However, we do hotels. We do logistic, we do even, some infrastructure projects like, again, subways, hospitals, tunnels in the world. And we do some residential, so we are also a residential developer. But as a matter of fact, in terms of our business model, we basically buy land, get, the permits, and of course, some tenants, and we construct the building and sell. So this is our business model, and this is why I'm
And you sell to institutions mostly, yeah? Because you sell non-strata assets, one building, a single building, or multiple buildings, yeah?
Yes, different types. Sometimes we formulate portfolios, so we sell portfolio across regions, countries. So we do that. And we sell individual properties as well, so it depends. Yes.
By individual properties, you mean a building. You don't mean an individual. Exactly. So it's an individual asset.
Yes, individual assets. So we again, we formulate portfolios sometimes to create a bigger scale, but sometimes we sell just individual assets, as you just mentioned. So I'm responsible for divestment, so selling, liquidating our assets in Central Europe, in Poland, Czech Republic, Romania, and Hungary. I have been working also on other transactions in Helsinki, in Finland, in London, UK, and in Seattle, US. With Skanska, so that's my experience. I'm with Skanska 9 years. Perfect. So I have managed to work on a different projects with different teams, which gave me a lot of experience. But of course, I'm very, very keen to connect this with this innovative approach of blockchain. And we as Skanska, we basically, I can say that in this PropertyU reports, which are one of the biggest magazines in Western Europe, in London, they basically qualify Skanska as the biggest office developer in Europe. So even though we are present in Northern Europe and Central Europe, we are still providing the biggest amount of square meters of office space in Europe. So that's quite big result, having in mind that we are not so much. We're not present in Western Europe. We have some operation in London, but most of our activities are in this Central European and Northern countries. So that's quite a big achievement. Of course, we are also, as a commercial business, present in US. So this is where we operate. We operate in Nordics, Central Europe, and the United States. These are the three regions where Skanska basically develops and sell assets. Yes. Of course, parallel to our construction business, which is operating in the same countries, in the same markets. So where is the connection? Basically, what I have done working in transactions and trying to see where the innovations that I could apply, I realized that there is not so much to do just for the sake of applying some new things like this fancy blockchain, which was 3 years ago that I started to learn about. But then it makes no sense to use these innovations if you just want to have one-off project and then basically it becomes obsolete, not so much interesting to be used. So you have to always find a reason to do something so that you can see at the end of your process some benefit that will be for both your clients and of course your shareholders. Yes. So that's why after this some research, some hours spent with this IT companies, I realized that the most interesting aspect of blockchain technology is actually tokenization. So especially the peculiarity of the markets here, especially Poland, which is the biggest market in Central Europe, the problematic side of our business is that we have a very small involvement of Polish capital in the real estate sales. So when you look at the markets like Hungary, Romania, Czech Republic, they do like 50% of local capital, and in Poland it's only 3-5%. So wow. The investors can be counted on one hand. So there is simply the reason for that is that we had some approaches to create some closed-ended funds, which haven't been so successful. Second, the investors are still having much better results investing directly into developments, into equities, into other forms of businesses that operate in Poland, and we are not at this stage yet where there are this groups of high net worths created which invest in real estate. So therefore, this is a problematic thing because, as you know, the biggest issue, Makram, in the real estate business is about liquidity. Yes. So the more the more liquid the market, of course, the better price, and then of course your profits, the profits you get. Yes. So the liquidity matters a lot. And if you have non-existence of local capital, it is a major
because you'll have swings in liquidity offered in the market. Yeah.
Yes, we have to basically we are depending. Our market is very much connected with Germany. So most of our clients, for last, let's say, 20 years, buying office buildings, prime office buildings, were coming from Germany. So Germany, some from France, from US. Now we have quite interesting opportunities working with Scandinavian investors. And of course, there are Czech investors, Hungarian investors who are looking also at Poland, but no Polish capital. So that's really some kind of a shocking thing for many investors coming to Poland. Yes, and definitely there is capital on the market because there are my grandparents or older people who are getting their pensions, which are then allocated into some bonds, some equities by the pension funds, but they are not allowed to invest in real estate,
Why?
because of the basically, the local regulators are protecting, because of few attempts of setting up this real estate funds, which were not successful. Yes, and then because of the fact that the market is not yet so mature, that the government is a bit, this is my private opinion, the government is not so, I would say, understanding well the risks, yes, and the potential profits.
So they're blocking the creation of funds and trusts and okay.
Exactly, they are not blocking, but they are simply very like.
So where do Polish money goes today? Equities and bonds.
Equities, bonds, exactly. Equities, bonds,
Okay.
and people actually. So that's a funny thing, but this middle class, yes, people who have actually benefited from the change from 1989. What they do? They buy apartments. So lots of real estate, residential real estate, is actually bought by private individuals as an investment. So there there is of course the leasing, the rental market, which is then offered to others. So this is how people are investing their money.
So when you when you say that Polish are not investing or very little Polish money in Polish real estate, you're talking about institutional, commercial, grade A real estate, for example. So
exactly.
They mostly go to residential, which is, by the way, different than most of Europe, because in general in Europe, for you to call a property an investment, mostly it should be a commercial property. Very few call a residential property an investment, which is different to where we are now in Dubai, for example. In Dubai, residential is the most prominent investment, and single units is in strata buildings are very well known to be profitable, most of the time. Now I understand your point. Okay. So what you have a lack of institutions that is getting that retail money into commercial real estate. But that's huge, exactly. Now you made me, although we chatted about this many times before, but that point didn't ever come up, where you've brightened my vision now when I look at that and the opportunity of tokenization and distributed ledger technology, because that, if regulated for, can allow the investor to purchase into institutional grade commercial real estate in a way or other. And that's where, so now I understand also why are you looking at that as head of divestment in Skanska. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
You have picked up this very well, Macron, as always. So yes, this is exactly the case. We, in simple words, we don't have REITs, yes, real estate investment trusts. And I am a part of this committee, which is actually connecting, developers, agents, lawyers, accountants, and we are lobbying, to create this REIT finally. Yes, but it's really tough. Yes, so as I said, the government is looking mostly at the real estate as a risk. Yes, they don't understand. They are afraid that if people like the pensioners' money will go into real estate and there is some problem, they will be like, like they will lose, the government and everything. So they are very afraid of that. Yes, they are not. They prefer to stay with the status quo rather than move into something that they have to.
That will hurt voters.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is the reason, and we are lobbying, but it doesn't help. So that's why I kind of like said like, okay, maybe this blockchain can be a way around this REIT legislation, which is so much on the spotlight of our government. So maybe we can create something that we'll be able to get private people's money into commercial real estate. So
which is in a way or other is safer and less fluctuating for individuals. So rather than having individuals put all their life savings into one apartment, for example, where the market can swing, you're getting them into institution grade, investor grade proper real estate, which probably offers them the same or better returns and the longevity of returns, as well as less swings in value. So that's an element of stability, supposedly. Yeah. Pardon my ignorance here. One question: you're part of the European Union. So don't the European Union's rules on REITs and investment councils apply, or no, it doesn't? There is local regulation that stops that.
I don't think it's a very interesting question. I'm not a lawyer, from my background, but it is something to look at. But having all of the colleagues, who are actually legal specialists, no one has somehow
figured out the solution. Yeah.
Exactly, to get a solution from this angle that you use European law to create something. So I think it has to go. It's a local financial authority committee supervision that has to allow probably to provide for such instruments like securities. Yes, because at the end of the day, when you do this tokenization, this is the biggest debate. Yes, now I don't know if you have seen this also recently happening in US when Coinbase had this different types of cryptos, yes, which qualified according to SEC SEC as securities. Some of them, yes. So therefore, this is the probably the issue that you cannot impose the law from European Union to provide for securities in a given country. So I think it's still about the local regulations and the treatment of that.
But that also gives an opportunity because, as it seems, the European Union is putting together a specialized virtual asset law, and the minute that they do that, probably it may apply or be taken into consideration in all European countries that are part of the European Union. And there is a race now who creates the first specialized law and the first specialized framework to have people work. That's cool, but that shows great opportunity. Very good.
Exactly. So I'm actually right now. I have few areas where I spend my let's say after hour time, because most of my time is taken of course by regular let's say
by selling their divesting. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that's why this is mostly what I do, and then in my spare time I can concentrate on this tokenization solution. So as you know, we work together in this FIBREE foundation, which helps a lot, at least for me, to explore different as you say, different countries and different legislations. How people are actually colleagues of us are pursuing this route. So this is one thing. Second thing is I am part of this coalition, which is NGO here in Poland, Coalition for Innovations, where I created also a tokenization group together with lawyers, IT companies, investors, and we have actually we have written a white paper to which we provided to our which I mentioned, this committee for supervision, this state authority, where we created in this 20 pages, some kind of explanation of this approach about the framework for potential crowdfunding models. Yes, and one of them is tokenization. So we have done this one step already, yes, towards the government, where we want to start the discussions with this financial supervision committee, and explore that, because there is already one step made where the government has created a law that allows for creating the simple stock company, which then can be actually an instrument used for tokenization. So as you know, there are different ways, but the easiest way of tokenization is basically to change shares into tokens. Yeah, so you don't tokenize an asset, you tokenize the company which holds the assets.
I disagree that that's the easiest way. That's the easiest way that most people follow. But I believe at Block Square, for example, you remember we've chatted about that. We've created an easier, simpler way where we tokenize the economic rights behind an asset without really needing to tokenize the equity behind it. So probably that's the easiest, simplest, most straightforward way. However, yes, probably on a institutional level, the simplest followed way today is what you're mentioning now, yeah?
Yes, because at the end of the day, if you have institutions, they guys like us, we can look after the security of the dividend rather than of the ownership, yes, of our right to the property. Because if I invest 2,000 euros, 5,000 euros, I'll be caring more about the dividend. But if there's an institutional investor which invests 200, 1 million, then of course you have to have a way to connect his investment, the token, and the right of ownership. Yeah, so that's why this SPV, or this simple stock company is needed. Yes, for this protection of the institutional capital, which you just have mentioned. So this is what we are working together, and I hope at some point after vacation we'll meet this financial authority, so that we can exchange some thoughts after they reading our paper. So this is one thing. In the meantime, I have also pursued and convinced my management here at Skanska to actually explore potential tokenization using one of our assets. And of course, we are selling office buildings, but this is too much, too big of a jump, yes, to think about tokenization where you don't have a legal framework and everything. But what I asked about within our innovation laboratory team, I asked about giving me a chance to basically use my colleagues from a sister company where they sell residential apartments to basically to clients. So like to me, to you. So instead of selling this via regular way, I propose to create a scheme, a project to tokenize an apartment. So this, concurrently to what I'm doing with this Coalition for Innovations, I want to see in practice if we can, as Skanska, tokenize a property. What kind of obstacles, hurdles we will hit on the way, so that we can take this 30 square meter single room apartment, so that it's not a big investment, but try to find out if there is a way to sell this apartment to few owners instead of one. Yeah, so this is what I'm trying to explore in the company. I got the initial green light, so I hope within this concurrent work to the talks with the financial authority, we might be able to see if there is a chance to sell this apartment. And of course, on that basis, I could use then in the future the same way to start to think about selling our office buildings to individual owners.
By the way, and the ability for us to achieve on that at FIBREE, and for those who don't know, although anyone who's seeing this session should know FIBREE, it's the Foundation of International Blockchain and Real Estate Expertise. We have plenty of companies from all over the world who contribute, and actually I believe that most of companies that do tokenization and represent that side of tech, specifically in real estate, are represented. And this presents an opportunity for someone like Adrian, for example. He's not from a tech background. I'm not from a tech background. He wants to explore this. And to them, it's an experiment. For a company like Skanska, it's an experiment today. And usually, innovation is easier for smaller organizations. That's why whoever disrupts a market, an industry, usually is a smaller organization. While when a bigger organization, when a monster says, yes, green light, let's try this, that's a huge. And the best medium to go and collect the right parties to try it with and to collect the right knowledge, because probably you will not have the opportunity to try it twice. You try it once, either there's learnings and positive stuff that tell you, yes, you can develop on that, or it's a cancel it, forget about it for the coming 10 to 15 years, maybe, until things really develop. So you want to make sure that you're doing it with the right parties, with the right expertise, and FIBREE is the best medium for that. So if you're a company that does tokenization and you're not a member of FIBREE, now is the moment where you should join FIBREE so that you can connect with giants like Skanska and someone who's heading divestments like Adrian to benefit from that connection and to show the tech you have. Item number 2, if you're currently an individual who is fond of real estate and blockchain, or the future of real estate and what real estate will look like, remember the following. When companies like Skanska are looking at that, it means that there will be jobs in that sector, and there will be development in those meeting points between those industries very soon. So you need to be part of FIBREE to learn and get introduced at the same time. Adrian, it's amazing to see that kind of opportunity you're looking at. Would you like to run us through anything that you've prepared for us today? Brighten our eyes, and you've already given us much. And then we'll have a discussion probably on that afterwards immediately.
Yes, I mean, in terms of what I basically prepared is, these are these two directions which I'm right now exploring, and of course, I can debate a bit on this white paper, but I would say, since this is a work I have done with other partners, so I would have to get some
clearance. Sure.
Clearance, yes, because it's yet not official or like public paper, so therefore I cannot discuss too much about this one. On Skanska, I gave you the background, yes, and of course we can debate a bit on that further, yes. So in terms of the practical approach, so what I need right now, I will be creating a team within Skanska from our different parts of organization, but definitely from the innovation team that is exploring different opportunities on forefront, and then I am about to, because the most important in this process are the lawyers. So I have worked with this one company. With this coalition for innovations that I want to use for that process, as well as I need the investor, because how I see the scheme working. Of course, we are holders of assets, yes. So we as Skanska, we sell every year, at least in Central Europe, we sell like 300-400 million euro of assets. So in the whole world, in these 3 regions, in the US, Central Europe, and the Nordics, we sell every year around 1 billion euro of assets, yes? So this is quite a big sum, but we are sellers, yes? So as I gave you this example of this apartment, we are seller, yes? We are not investor. So we are not going to invest into this solution. So therefore, what I need an investor. Because why I need an investor? Of course, you can say, it's one apartment. It will be maybe 200,000 euros. The value of this apartment. You need 10 people or even less, to basically create this tokenization group and hold the asset. But I want to use an investor because I believe that this tokenization cannot happen without the fund manager. So, as a matter of fact, we are talking about not decentralized model. So not like not as for example like you have the Bitcoin, which is fully decentralized and public blockchain. We'll be looking into a private blockchain. So I want to have the investor, the fund manager, to take an active role in selling these tokens. Yeah. So after we basically securitize this property, this apartment, I want the fund to basically find few private individuals who will buy these tokens. Yes, and I want the fund to manage the venture. So basically there will be this body controlling the blockchain. Yeah, so it will be, as I said, private blockchain. So they'll be doing all the KYC and all of the different measures that have to be provided. And we as Skanska, as I said, we are sellers, so we don't want to be connected to the platform. Yes, we want to exit. And I know that if I create something where Skanska is still somehow financially involved, it will be difficult, yes, to pursue this direction. So I want to make a clear.
You're buying your freedom there.
Yeah, exactly. I want to make a clear cut, as to repeat the business that we are doing. Yes. So we are saying.
So if I understand you right, the process that you want to follow is item number one is you want to get. You have this asset that Skanska currently owns. You want a fund to raise the funds needed to acquire this asset. You want this fund to acquire this asset. And then afterwards, you want this fund to manage alongside a management company and a portfolio manager to manage that asset as a sample. So it's sampling it for Skanska and for the fund for the future. And then you want the fund to tokenize that asset, utilizing the tech knowledge and the lab team that you will create, the experimental team that you will create in Skanska, to tokenize this asset and sell it. And that will be, to you, an experiment that didn't put Skanska as an organization in, because we know big organizations are not lean usually, are not agile to that limit where they can, as you said, if it's still owned by Skanska, every decision probably will require so many and restriction on who invests and how does get invested in. So that's what you want. And will Skanska be giving this asset, for example, at a discounted rate because they're part of the experiment, or no?
No, I mean, we want to create a totally like a market.
Okay, so it's a regular. So Skanska wants to do that experiment, but Skanska does not, or you do not want Skanska to be owning that asset at that moment of time. So just because if you were owning that asset, it will be difficult for you to maneuver around the policies and procedures that you have around for accepting money and selling an asset. Understood.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Understood.
Again, very well.
Okay.
Very well summarized.
That's cool. So where are you now with that?
Yeah. So I'm after first internal. So we call it innovation lab. Yes. So I have done the innovation lab. Then I have innovation board internally, which I hope I'll pass, because I didn't have any. I mean, all of the members of the innovation lab accepted that and they liked the idea. So now it will be innovation board, and then there will be my management. So my basically my supervisory board, simple management of Skanska, that will give me acceptance to use the resources and the team, people, time to look for this solution. Yes. So this is and of course I have told you I need a legal company, I need a fund. But of course, I need the IT solution. Yes, IT provider. So there will be another another member of the team.
So tell me something, because that's something I'm very interested in. Rarely do companies that are now you're not only a contractor, you're I would call you a developer, because what you're using your contracting power on is developing and then you selling. So by developing a product, obviously you're doing the design and development, as well as the first tranche of management. I would say preparing the product to market. So that's what you're doing, including finding the right tenants for the product, including all of those. So that's partly portfolio management and property management. So your engine, your machine, is much more than a contractor or a simple developer that's building and selling straightforward. So what was the last innovation or the last thing, if you can discuss that Skanska have approved or tried and it worked and made a broader benefit of within the innovation lab and innovation committee? Because that's very interesting. It's rare that such companies do have that view and that edge in innovation.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as you know, Skanska, our Scandinavian approach is very much after environment and sustainability. So, we are, now this ESG is very much discussed, but, this is something we have been basically reporting from, I think, 2007, not as ESG, but of course, as part of our whole governance at Skanska. So we have been always, discussing and producing this, different facts about our environment, social and governance aspects of
So you're telling me that the last innovation was in green and
exactly,
sustainable.
Exactly. So
sustainability.
Last innovation was in this concrete that we are using as a group here in Poland. So that was this concrete, which is basically reducing CO2 emission by 40%. So we have been working with some concrete producers with technical university here in Warsaw, and so we had Reuters coming to Warsaw and then different companies that have been reporting what we have done. So that's this this reduction of CO2 emission in our concrete. Another thing, which is also an invention, is actually we have again, it's about concrete. So we have found out the way to use such a concrete which is absorbing CO2. So not only there is a reduction in terms of your embodied CO2 in the building as a when you're constructing the building, but when you operate the building. So on your office, let's say pavements, around the buildings where people are walking, we have such a concrete on our pavements which is reducing the smog, basically this I forgot the chemical word about this, but yeah, everyone knows smog. Yeah, so when people are walking, when the women with children around our offices, there is a reduced level of smog. So they are basically breathing clearer air. So these are the type of solutions we have been pursuing, and of course there is a big interest from our our strategic governance point of view to look after solutions for the environment. So that's why this is I would say the most important line of the business. But now I'm bringing a bit difference.
You're bringing a much difference, because usually the innovation is happening, as you said, in framework of how to develop, how to build better communities, better social structures. Exactly. However, the logistics of the transaction have not been impacted since a very long time, probably, and I'm not sure if there has been innovation in that within Skanska or your area of operation in the logistics of the transactions. So now what you're getting onto the table is you're trying to evolve with the logistics of the transaction, with how people buy and sell real estate, which by itself impacts all the other elements, because it makes it much more feasible to do. Yep. Innovation in all the other elements, helps the environment and helps the communities and helps everyone around. Cool. That's
I mean, it's very interesting, Makran, because I realized that blockchain And tokenization is also about ESG, because you're reducing, of course, amount of potential like flights and different meetings and energy you have to put into this into the process of regular sale of the building. Yes, number of people as well involved. Second, the social aspect. Yes, you will be, I hope, at some point we will be selling to private individuals. Yes, so we are giving a chance to people like you, me, maybe some students, maybe some pension holders, to invest into commercial real estate, which is like right now simply impossible, at least in my country. Yes, so therefore it's about social. Yes, you're giving people a chance to invest in something which exists on the market.
Funny we talk about that. So funny we talk about that. Look, we chatted about something before, probably. Expo 2020 in Dubai was they took sustainable development goals of the UN as their inspiration. And Block Square was invited. I'm part of Block Square. Was invited to the Slovenian pavilion to discuss the technology that Block Square has issued as a Slovenian innovation. And I was presenting there, and it was inspiring to me to discover, while we're building that presentation, that tokenization impacts every single one of those goals. So post that session, we had a session in Hungary, I believe, no, in Czech Republic actually, and it was a block Czech. It was a company that arranges that conference in the Czech Republic, and it's a Web3 and blockchain conference. And I presented that at a more advanced way, with more time, because it was inspiring. And one of the commissioners, the UN commissioners, was present and was so surprised and amazed. And the question that I was asked was, did you try and apply those to that? I said, I promise you we didn't. We just found out that exactly what you're saying, it does have a social impact. It does touch every single one of the sustainable development goals. So it's not like we tried to fix them together so that we can create a presentation. No, it started coming out, and one after another, and inspired us even to push more onto that. So exactly what you're saying, 100%, because it allows communities to buy property and have access to property in a different way, as well as to look at owning property. Since he was a student earning 200 euros a month, and he can save 20 euros, and those 20 euros can be spent on video games, or he can start purchasing the property he lives in as or tokens of that, and then continue growing this all through his life. Imagine that can happen, and never need to take a mortgage and suffer financial stress with his family if he can't pay the mortgage because interest rates hiked, or he couldn't afford the payment because he lost his job.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly. So this is a future of tokenization. So that's why we think about the same way, the same. We are on the same page on that here. So that's another thing.
So happy to hear that you're doing this, and to hear that you've got the green light from Skanska, and wish you all the success in that. What would you like to tell us more? Is there a subject that you would like to tell us about, or would we thank everyone, and if you have some final few sentences, and we take it forward from there?
No, I think again, I cannot go so much into details, so that would be it. I can complement only just to finish, our ESG talks. That the last aspect, of course, the governance. As you know very well, blockchain, yes, it's giving the best governance you can get, yes, with KYC process and everything. So that's something which is exactly, which is right now on the agenda in EU at least, yes, in United Europe, that you are supposed to look into these three aspects of each investment: environmental, social, and governance. So I think this is, again, going very much in pair into the what is expected from the society. So therefore I believe in this, and I hope we get the next one we record it. I record with you when it will be, when I have some more details that I will be able to share.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Adrian. And thank you, Skanska, for allowing that innovation to take place, and to allowing Adrian the resources and the time to experiment with that. Because yes, to an organization like Skanska, it is still an experiment, although it's an active and living and working product elsewhere. This is, by the way, what FIBREE Talks is all about. It's amazing experts similar to Adrian, and we have a chat about things that we may agree on or we may disagree on, because FIBREE is made out of experts, individuals who think out of the box and who want to impact the world, who want to impact the environments around them, and they can have that spread of knowledge and bridging of knowledge throughout the world. So if somebody found an interesting thing in Netherlands, found an interesting thing in Netherlands, and Alex have a question in Vietnam, probably that finding can answer it, and we can develop on it. So we will definitely talk again, Adrian. We will definitely talk again within a new session of FIBREE Talks. FIBREE Talks is a regular chat between experts for it to become the FIBREE Talks Summit, which hopefully will take place annually, and will be a collection of all of this value add presented to the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Makram. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, FIBREE. Thank you for everyone who's with us. Wait for more sessions that are very interesting with experts like Adrian, and hopefully will add value.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Same to you.